Introduction. My name is Steph. I am 26 years old. I work as a personal assistant. My office is in a big company in London. My boss's name is Daniel. He is 34 years old. Daniel is a rich man. He is also very handsome. He is always serious. Many people in the office are afraid of him. When I first started working, I thought he was just a regular boss. He seemed strict, but I thought this was normal for a big company. I believed he was simply a busy and important person. I liked my job very much at the beginning. Every morning, I enjoyed the busy office environment. I loved the smell of fresh coffee and the sound of the printer working. I wanted to do my best work every day. I worked hard and stayed late in the office to finish all tasks. I wanted Daniel to be happy with my work. I hoped to make him feel proud of me. My job felt important, and I felt good about myself. I felt like a valued part of the team. However, things slowly started to change. Daniel began to show a different side. He wanted more control. Not only did he want to control my work tasks, but he also wanted to control parts of my personal life. This was a strange feeling that grew over time. I did not understand why he needed so much control over things outside of the office. It was not what I expected from a boss, and it made me feel a little uncomfortable. His presence became bigger, more demanding. He started to ask me for things that were not part of my job description. These requests were small at first. They seemed harmless and easy to do. For example, he might ask me to buy a special type of coffee for his home or to find a specific book for him during my lunch break. Sometimes, he asked me to call a personal number for him. These were not office tasks. They were personal things for him. I thought they were just small favors at the time. I did not think much about them. I just wanted to be a good assistant and help my boss. But these small requests were the beginning of a bigger change. They marked the slow start of a new way of working, a way that was not always easy or clear. This was the start of demands that went beyond my professional duties. 2. The first command. One evening, the office was quiet. Most people had already gone home. I was finishing some work when my boss, Daniel, called me into his office. He sat behind his large, dark desk. The light from his lamp made shadows on his face. He looked at me with his cold blue eyes. I felt a little nervous, as I often did when he called me in like this. "Steph," he said, his voice low and serious, "I need you to pick up my laundry tomorrow." I was surprised. This was not a work task. My job was to help him with his company business, not his personal errands. I tried to smile. "That's not part of my job, sir," I replied politely. I thought he would understand. My duties were clear, and picking up laundry was not one of them. Daniel looked up slowly. His eyes were still on me. He did not raise his voice, but his words felt very strong. "It is now," he said. His tone was calm, but there was something dangerous in it. It was not a request. It was an order. A cold feeling went through me. I did not know what to say or do. I needed this job very much. My rent in London was very high, and I had to pay it every month. Also, my little sister depended on me. She needed money for her school. If I lost this job, I did not know how I would pay for everything. The thought made my stomach hurt. I looked at Daniel. He waited for my answer. He did not say more, but his silence was a clear message. If I did not do this, there would be problems. I thought about my bills, about my sister. I thought about how hard I had worked to get this position. I could not lose it. So I nodded slowly. "Yes, sir," I said. My voice was quiet. I felt a strange mix of anger and sadness. I had tried to say no. I had tried to keep the line between my job and his personal life clear. But he had broken that line easily. From that day, things changed between us. Our professional relationship was different. It was no longer just about work tasks. It was about his power and my need to obey. I had taken his first personal order. This meant he could ask for more. I knew this was just the beginning. I felt a heavy weight in my heart. My job was becoming something I did not expect, something more difficult than I had ever imagined. I wondered what else he would ask me to do. I wondered if I would always have to say yes. 3, more than work. After the first task of picking up Daniel's laundry, many more personal tasks followed. My work life changed completely. Daniel started asking me to do things that were not part of my assistant duties at all. He asked me to buy special gifts for his girlfriend, Laura. I had to find the right flowers for his private dinners and make sure everything was perfect. He also told me to plan his parties, from the guest list to the music. These were not simple requests. He gave them as orders. Sometimes I tried to say no. I would gently remind him that these tasks were not in my job description. But Daniel would look at me with his cold blue eyes. He would simply say, "Do you want to keep your job, Steph?" His voice was calm, but the words held a strong threat. I knew I needed my job. My rent was high, and I had to help my younger sister with her school fees. So I always agreed. I started to feel very small and controlled. It was like I was a puppet, and Daniel was holding all the strings. My own time, even on weekends, was not mine anymore. I was always waiting for his next call or message. I felt used. Other people in the office saw me working closely with Daniel. They often said I was lucky to be so important to him. They did not know the truth of how I felt inside or how hard these demands were for me. One afternoon, a beautiful woman came into the office. She was very tall, with long dark hair and a perfect smile. This was Laura, Daniel's girlfriend. She looked like a model. She walked directly to my desk. Her smile was friendly, but her eyes seemed to look right through me. She said, "You must be the girl who does everything for Daniel." Her voice was soft, but her words felt sharp, like little needles. I felt a deep shame. My face became hot with embarrassment. I understood that she knew my new role. I was just the girl who does everything for her boyfriend. It was a very humiliating moment for me. I wished I could disappear. That day, I realized my job was no longer just work. It was something much more personal and heavy. My professional life had completely changed. Daniel owned my time, and now it felt like he was taking away my dignity too. For the big party. The company's anniversary was coming. Daniel wanted a big party. He told me to plan everything. It was a very important event for his business. I had to choose the music. I had to find the best flowers. I had to decide on the food and drinks. I even helped him choose his suit for the night. There were so many small things to do. I worked many long hours. I felt very tired. I was also nervous. I wanted everything to be perfect. Daniel always wanted everything to be perfect. The night of the party arrived. The big room was full of people. Bright lights shone everywhere. Soft music played. Everyone looked happy. I watched Daniel. He was talking to many important guests. He looked very handsome. His girlfriend, Laura, was there too. She looked beautiful in a long red dress. I was busy. I checked on the food. I spoke to the waiters. I made sure everyone had a drink. Daniel often called me to his side. He wanted me to write down names of people. He wanted me to remember details from conversations. He spent a lot of time talking to me. I stood next to him for a long time. Laura saw this. She started to look angry. Her eyes followed Daniel and me. After some time, she walked quickly towards us. She looked very upset. She stopped right in front of Daniel. She looked at him with angry eyes. "Why do you always look at her?" Laura shouted. Her voice was loud. Many people stopped talking. The music seemed to stop too. The big room became quiet. Everyone looked at us. My face felt hot. My hands started to shake. I felt very small. Daniel looked at Laura. Then he looked at me. He did not say anything. He just stood there. The silence felt very long. The next day, Daniel called me to his office. His face was serious. His voice was cold. "You made Laura jealous," he said. "You made me look weak in front of my guests." I wanted to speak. I wanted to tell him it was not my fault. I wanted to explain that I was just doing my job, but he did not let me speak. He raised his hand. "From now on," he said, "you will do everything I tell you. No questions. You will obey me completely." That moment was very clear. I understood something new. Daniel did not just want control in the office. He did not just want control over my work. He wanted to control me. He wanted to control my whole life. I felt a cold fear. 5. A hard time. Many weeks went by. I worked more hours and slept less. Daniel asked for more things, and his demands became constant. He sent me messages very late at night. He would write, "Bring my files," or "Pick up my watch," or "Don't be late." His calls often came at 10 o'clock at night, asking me to prepare important documents for the next morning. Sometimes he asked me to deliver important papers on a Saturday morning. My weekends were no longer my own. I felt like I was working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I was always tired. My eyes felt heavy, and my head often hurt. I could not remember the last time I had a good night's sleep. I drank a lot of coffee, but it did not help much. I felt like a machine, not a person. One evening, I was in his office very late. I had just finished arranging his travel plans for a long business trip. I looked at him and said, "Daniel, I cannot keep doing this. I am very tired. These demands are too much for me." He stopped working. He looked up slowly. His eyes were cold and hard, just like they were on my first day. He stood up and walked around his big dark desk. He came very close to me. I could feel his anger. He looked deep into my eyes. His voice was low and quiet, but it was full of power. "Then leave," he said. "You can go, but remember this, Steph. No one ever leaves me." His words made me very scared. My heart beat fast. I felt a cold fear inside me. But then a new feeling started to grow. It was anger. Why was I letting him control my life? Why was I so afraid to stand up for myself? I had always done what he asked. I had always said yes. But that night, something changed inside me. I walked home in the dark, thinking about his words. I felt tears in my eyes. I was at my breaking point. I had to do something. When I finally reached my small apartment, I looked in the mirror. My face was pale and tired, but my eyes were strong. I took a deep breath. I said to myself, "Enough, this has to stop. I will fight back." This was not the end. It was the beginning of my fight for freedom. 6. Secrets and lies. Steph went to work with a new feeling. She had a plan to fight back against Daniel's control. Her first step was to collect proof of his inappropriate requests. She started to save every message Daniel sent her, especially those late at night or on weekends. She kept emails that clearly showed his personal and unusual demands. She also wrote down notes about the exact times and dates of the tasks he made her do. This was not easy. She had to be very careful and clever so Daniel would not find out her secret plan. She did this because she desperately wanted to be free from his power. She needed to protect herself from any trouble in the future. She felt a little scared to do this, but also a new sense of strength. She knew this careful work was important for her future and her peace of mind. She spent many hours secretly gathering this important information. Each piece of proof felt like a small victory in her fight for independence. One evening, something very surprising and unexpected happened. Daniel had a big business dinner with important clients. He drank too much alcohol during the meal. He was not himself when he returned to the office. He looked very tired and had a deep sadness in his eyes. He called Steph into his office. His voice was different, not strong and cold like usual, but softer and more quiet. He started to talk about Laura, his beautiful girlfriend. "I never loved Laura," he said quietly. His words were slow, and Steph could feel the heaviness in them. It was a big secret. Steph felt a sudden shock. She did not expect to hear this kind of truth from him. Laura seemed so important to him, a perfect partner. She was his girlfriend for a long time. Steph listened very carefully, trying to understand. Daniel continued to speak, revealing more. "She was part of a business deal," he explained with a sigh. "My company badly needed her father's money. It was a very important agreement for our business to grow." Steph was deeply surprised by this confession. "Then why do you stay with her?" she asked him. Her voice was soft, showing her confusion. Daniel looked down at his hands on the desk. He smiled a sad, tired smile. "Because if I don't, everything will fall apart," he said. "My company, my work, everything I built and worked hard for will be gone." For the very first time, Steph saw a completely different Daniel. He was not the strong, scary, and powerful boss she knew every day. He looked like a person with many problems, a man who was sad, tired, and trapped. She saw a very vulnerable side of him, a side he always kept hidden. He was not just a powerful boss who controlled others. He was a broken man, caught in his own difficult business deals and personal lies. This big secret changed how Steph saw him completely. It made her think about him in a new and complicated way. His confession made her difficult situation even more complex than before. She had been full of anger, but now she felt a strange mix of feelings: anger, pity, and even a little understanding. She still wanted her freedom, but she also saw his deep pain. 7. The confession. Daniel's behavior changed after that night. He was still my boss, but his strict manner softened. Sometimes his voice was not as sharp. His eyes, which used to be so cold, now held a different light when he looked at me. It was a small change, but I noticed it every day. I felt a strange mix of relief and worry. Could this new Daniel be real? One morning, he asked me to come to his office. My heart beat fast. I thought he might give me another impossible task, but he did not. He sat behind his big desk, looking at me. His face was serious, but not angry. "Steph," he began, his voice softer than usual. "I am sorry. I did not know what to say. An apology from Daniel was something I never expected." He continued, "I know I treated you badly. Like a servant, I did not know how to handle you. You are strong. You remind me of the person I used to be before all of this." He looked around his office, then back at me. "Before all the business and the money changed me, my mind raced. This was a side of Daniel I had only seen a small part of that one night. Now it was clear. He was truly saying sorry. It felt strange to hear. Then he said something that made my world stop. "I think I am falling for you." My breath caught in my throat. My heart gave a sudden jump, then felt like it stopped beating completely. I just stood there, unable to move or speak. Daniel, my boss, the man who controlled my life, was saying he had feelings for me. A wave of confusion washed over me. Was this real, or was it another trick? Was it another way for him to control me, but in a different, more personal way? I wanted to believe him. There was a part of me that felt a small spark of hope, a tiny warmth in my chest. He had shown me a vulnerable side, a human side, and that had touched me. But fear was also strong. Fear of being hurt again. Fear of his power. Fear of what this could mean for my job, for my life. Everything was so complicated now. I had planned to fight back, to get free. And now this. I looked at him, searching his eyes for an answer. They were open, almost pleading. He looked different, less like the powerful boss and more like the man who had confessed his secret to me. I did not give him an answer that day. I could not. My mind was full of thoughts, questions, and feelings I did not understand. But one thing was clear. I could not stop thinking about him, about his words, and about this new, unexpected turn in our story. This confession changed everything between us. It opened a door to a future I had never imagined, a future filled with both hope and deep uncertainty. 8. Freedom and forgiveness. Laura found out about Daniel and me. She came to the office, her face red with anger. She went straight to Daniel's office. "You think he loves you?" she shouted. "He doesn't love anyone." Daniel quickly stood up. He stepped between us. "Enough," he said. "It's over." Laura was shocked. She cried, full of anger. It was a difficult moment. Their relationship was broken. Daniel had to end his business deal with Laura's father, a big loss. But Daniel seemed calm. Laura left the office, very upset. After she left, the office became quiet. Daniel looked at me. He seemed truly free. The heavy weight was gone. He walked closer. His eyes were soft. "Steph," he said quietly, "you can leave now. You don't owe me anything." My heart beat fast. I could leave, start a new life, but I looked at him. He was not the same boss. He had changed. I had seen his secrets, his apologies, and his feelings for me. I had found my voice. I had learned to stand up for myself. I did not want to just obey orders anymore. "I won't leave," I told him. My voice was clear and strong. "But I don't obey you anymore." He listened. He did not look angry. He looked interested. I continued, "I will stay, but only if you treat me as your equal. We must be partners, not boss and assistant." Daniel looked at me for a moment. A small smile came to his face. He nodded. "Then let's start again," he said. His voice was gentle. That day, everything changed. We started a new relationship about respect and understanding, not power. Daniel learned to listen. I learned to trust him. Looking back, I understood this story was about finding my own strength. Daniel wanted me to obey him, but he learned to respect me. That respect brought us closer. We built something new. I found my freedom and a love built on equality.